There is some good news. According to Charlie Kirk's five-head, Trump derangement is rising, largely within MAGA. And again, I've said this before, and I will say it again. You'd have to be deranged to vote for Donald Trump. You'd have to be, I would argue, how about I'll go even further on related to the last conversation we had. You'd have to be deranged to not do everything you can to vote against somebody like that. If you're going to vote third party, not vote at all, phone it in or whatever, when you realize the threat that this asshole poses and what he's done, and the people that around him would like to continue doing, the Stephen Millers, the J.D. Vances of the world, right? You know what they want. They want more of this. So you're going to tell me you're going to vote third party or throw your vote away or talk like there's a fucking uniparty next time? You're going to talk like that next time? Knowing this, then there is only one answer. You are for this. You're not on the fence. You're not halfway about it. You're not, disenchanted. You're for it. You support it. Just admit it. Stop wasting everyone's time. That's it. You'd have to be nuts to vote for Trump. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
7.5 million U.S.
Oh, and this asshole fucking selling TikTok. That should tell you something, too. That Charlie Kirk is doing ads for TikTok. Owned by ByteDance and the Chinese government. Think about that for a second. Think about Charlie Kirk doing ads for a Chinese company. If Hunter Biden had done the 30-second ad at the top of this thing for a ByteDance and Chinese government-owned software of any sort, much less a social media one, imagine these motherfuckers. They'd be playing on a loop. This motherfucker, right? Charlie Kirk, TikTok is wonderful. Fuck off.
New York Times writes a piece, What to Do When the President Acts Like a 5-Year-Old. I really don't like the term Trump derangement syndrome, but it's just accurate. I haven't found a better one
to explain maggot voters.
Fill it. TDS. The TDS in mainstream media has reached a new fever pitch. What is driving it? What is behind it?
New fever pitch? This is a large fall off from Epstein's wingman and rapist. I know 5-year-olds who have better manners.
And is there any hope to cure this disease?
Well, I mean, we largely cured measles and the mumps, so maybe.
Yeah, until RFK Jr. brought him back. Bad time to make that analogy, dumbass. Also, by the way, Mark Halperin, another guy who was kicked to the curb because he was sexually harassing women in the workplace. He now works at Megyn Kelly's show, or on the network she's on. And you'd think that, right?
Trump derangement syndrome is
coming
the natural.
Back, Mark. I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
I know. It's the natural resting state of the what I call the dominant media. They want to be in opposition to Donald Trump.
Right. What do you think it is? The grab him by the pussy stuff, or the Vladimir Putin's a tough guy, smart guy, and we kill a lot of people too, so who gives a shit? Or Xi Jinping's my friend, and or COVID will go away when the sunshine hits it, or what do you think the main part of it is? The tariffs that aren't fucking working, the big bullshit bill that's adding like $6 trillion to the debt and is underwater even with his own supporters. Again, I'm hard pressed to find a reason why you wouldn't be deranged to support this motherfucker.
And after 2016, and he won, there was like a 5-minute thing where the New York Times said, we really need to understand America. And then it was basically 4 years of Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh, that's also before they went and looked at the count and went, oh, Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote by 3 million votes. And all Trump did was regular run-of-the-mill Republican bullshit. And so maybe you can just go back to pointing out the fact that he's a sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot.
And then 4 more years. And then after he won in 2024 and got off to such a fast start in the transition, I think it was at its low point within the media, which is they respected his victory. They were embarrassed privately about Joe Biden and their role in covering up his loss of mental acuity. And if you look at the coverage and the transition and through the first few months, it wasn't laudatory, but it wasn't as reflective of Trump derangement.
Every elected president gets a grace period. I would argue it was a mistake this time around, considering he had been elected before. But they all get it. Because they don't want it, largely because they don't want to look like they were denying the results of the election. We now know possibly suspect.
Syndrome. In the last few weeks, it's all come back. And so back to their natural state.
Oh, you mean since the Epstein memo came out where they said nothing to see here and he killed himself and all of his people started freaking out, and it's not just people on the Democratic side of the aisle that are going, fuck this dude?
The information on the economy is mixed, but now it's all being reported as negative.
Okay. The information on the economy is mixed, but now it's being reported as negative. Okay. One moment. I want to say it was Axios. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Where is it? Yeah, that's NBC. I'm going to try to find the ones that they are a little more. Yeah, because there's a bunch of these articles. I'll show you this in a minute. All right, there's a bunch of these, but I'll show you these right out there. This is from CNBC. Where the fuck is this thing? I don't want to watch it live. Oh, it's on their Pro channel. You'll get the idea. I'll show you the headlines. AI is bailing out most of the U.S. stock market, Josh Brown says. AI spending boom could have real consequences for the U.S. economy. The robots haven't taken over yet, but AI investments are powering more of the American economy. Almost all of the positive economic stuff is pointing to the fact that the investment in AI is second only to the fucking railroads. Yeah, just saying. Second only to the like laying the railroads across the country in terms of, you know, the investment versus GDP. For real. It is the second largest investment splurge in American history after the fucking railroads. That's what's keeping everything afloat. It's also, they're replacing workers with productivity because they're using AI for a lot of these things. AI is going to mask a lot of incompetence. We'll get to that later. But still, I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why they're like, it seems to be bad. I mean, people are losing jobs. They're not adding jobs. And we're like, why the fuck would they? All the factories Trump moves here aren't factories. They're fucking data centers. They're cloud server facilities. There's not fucking people in there like hand pressing fucking AI images. They're not hammering them out of steel like some factory in the fucking 20s. God damn, like, and they're not going to. Like, the car factories are vending machines. The ones that are going to move here, and it keeps talking about they're bringing them to the country. Right. They'll have fucking 9 employees. There's a big thing in, I showed you this thing. This is fucking how stupid Halperin is. I don't know why people think that manufacturing is the future for jobs of any sort. The peak inside China's dark factories, churning out 800 EVs a day. Let's see. Do they have any pictures there? Yeah, China's dark factories. We looked at part of this before.
With lights dimmed and
They don't even need. They don't have to pay a light bill. You know why? There's no fucking people in there. They only have lights on when when they need to clear the space for somebody to come in. They got like those little like motion sensors for people that are like in what would be the walkways. Then unless you see movement in those things and they know what the robots are, they could tell. So they don't go on when when those things move. Just when there's another person or another thing moving around in there, a human, a raccoon, it doesn't fucking matter. They're not these fucking things. Like, yeah, here's what Trump thinks factories are like, and this is how like China made its like its bones on the world stage for a long time. Now, no. Our welding workshop, there are more than 800 robots working simultaneously. Here we can achieve almost complete lights out production. Why lights out, you say? Because you don't need any fucking people. China's fully autonomous dark factories. This is the way it's going, people. This is the way manufacturing is going, especially hard goods, cars, any metalwork, prefab homes, all that kind of shit. This is where it's going. It'll take some time in some industries, and some will happen faster than the others. I like to think that when you turn on the lights, the robots will hiss like a rat. Sure, VJ Kodak. I wouldn't rule that out. Right? Or like the alien, the xenomorph in Alien. Is anybody starting to get the fucking picture? Why jobs are going to take a giant shit in the next 4 years, no matter who's in charge, and Trump is like the dumbest motherfucker to have in charge while this shit's going on?
Even some Republicans will say they're not crazy about the president's firing the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Why would that be?
But now that's being turned into a metaphor for what a horrible guy Donald Trump is. Donald Trump, says...
Because it's indicative.
Some inaccurate.
Hell, you don't need lights with robots at all, right? I mean, they literally, you could put visual sensors on them that go beyond the light spectrum, infrared essentially. So if they or LiDAR, they don't need any light at all. For real, they can just walk around in pitch black.
Things quite regularly.
Think of all the energy you'll save.
And so now they're attributing that to both him being a huge liar and loss of mental acuity on his
yes, it's check and check
part, covering it way more than Joe Biden was ever covered. So I don't believe there's a cure for this Trump derangement syndrome. And I believe most of all that Donald Trump benefits so much from Trump derangement syndrome, so much. And that's the ultimate irony of the media's Trump derangement syndrome. They're helping the very person they're trying to
Now, he might have a point here. And how in what way does he have a point? The point is that Trump is so gross and so awful, and apparently you cannot get this through his followers' thick fucking skull. So the media and people who are at odds with Donald Trump will look for continuing evidence. Maybe this will be the thing that breaks through. Instead of just grabbing onto the big ones and hanging on for dear life, they'll go into like he's putting statues up in places, or he says nuclear weapons, like he's building nuclear weapons when he's walking the grounds of the White House and shit like that. All the stuff that he throws out there, they will chase these bones because it isn't us we're trying to convince. We're like, maybe this will get through to you, you stupid motherfuckers. He's crazy. He's an idiot. He's a liar. Here's yet another example. And the reason he can get people to chase these fucking lasers all over the place is because they're trying to get it through the thick skulls of maggots. And I'm here to tell you, you only need one, Epstein. Stick to it, hammer it. They'll never escape from it. They'll never be able to walk out of it. And they're not, and you can't think like you. You can't think this is atrocious. Can't you see it? Because they don't think that way. Then, in many of the cases, the cruelty is the point. So if you get outraged honest to God, if you get outraged about how immigrants are being treated, they applaud it. When you bring it up, they're like, fucking good, man. That's what we voted for, motherfucker. But if you don't bring it up, they notice that there are nowhere near as many arrests as he said there were going to be. And where's these 25 million fucking illegals running all over the place, right? But if we talk about how terribly he's treating the ones we know about, then to them, that is the lesson. They're like, oh, well, that's the message, rather. That's awesome, right? They support that. So don't think that they're going to be upset the way you are, ever. Find out what they're upset about, hammer that. And in the case of Epstein, it's one of the shared areas. It's both interesting from a true crime perspective, and he's particularly vulnerable on it. Also, Democrats, by and large, are invulnerable on it because we don't give a fuck if people we used to like end up on the list and getting fucking kicked to the curb. I don't care. Fuck them. If I thought they were one way and they turn out to be a pedophile, goodbye. I'm not in a cult. I like the ideas, not the people that represent those ideas or pretend to represent those people in an idea. So don't think that getting upset about what you're upset by and going, how dare you, seeking a balanced outrage from them, don't think that'll help. What happened to the girls? Another great point. Bring that up. Right? He didn't seem to give a shit when he knew Epstein was farming from the local school. He just didn't like they were stealing his prettiest employees that looked like Ivanka. I mean, in the last week, he blew apart their only remaining excuse for his behavior up to that point, the creep idea. Yeah, we like policy, not figureheads. That's exactly right. Hold on, let's try to do this real quick. I'm going to pull some. There was a. There was a. Where was I? There was an article. It might have been on Axios. I'll have to look it up in a minute. Okay, let's go back to this real quick, and then
Sure.
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, and so the Democrat Party, I'm endlessly interested.
Democratic.
I know you've mentioned this before, but where is the political entrepreneurs of the Democrat Party? I mean, there's plenty of opportunities. We saw this actually in 2017, 2018. Everyone would be starting new groups, new protest movements. I'm not saying that there's no energy, but I suppose Mamdani's a little bit of a manifestation of this, but they're so obvious.
No. He's your fixation. He's not a manifestation of anything. He's there's a multi-tiered thing running, and if he ends up the mayor of New York, he'll have about as much as an effect as de Blasio did. And good on him. They can let him try some pilot programs and that kind of stuff. It's a city mayor. It's not a federal seat. I can't vote on it. Nobody but people who live in New York can vote on it. So who gives a shit? You guys like him because he's brown and you think he's a communist, so you can use him to browbeat the rest of the Democratic Party. I'm not taking the bait, and I'm talking about the people that are running for federal office. Let the New Yorkers handle that conversation.
Sure.
Meanwhile, explain your love for Matt Gaetz and the fact that you had him on your show all the time, and then and then explain why then is Epstein a problem. Because, I mean, what it looks like was Matt Gaetz and Joel Greenberg believed themselves to be the natural successors. They were going to fill the gap left by Epstein.
Shortfalls they're trying. For example, they've tried a couple very just like low energy, just lackluster attempts to try to win over younger people to come after Turning Point USA.
We don't need to waste our money doing that. We don't have to go after them. They're going to leave you because of the Epstein thing. The new ones coming in are going to be confronted by the fact that you are excusing Trump and Epstein, and the ones that you had a hold of are going to be either disenfranchised or flip their vote as they grow up.
Yeah.
Suppose when you're talking to Democrat operatives, why are they, how are they assessing their lack of bottom-up political entrepreneurs?
Yeah, it's three things. One is it's just, I don't know if you call it luck, bad luck, whatever, but they just don't have the kind of people like you and others who are both talented content creators
And also paid by Russia.
and also people.
They don't take Russian money to get artificially inflated numbers on their websites and then have the Republican establishment fold in behind it because they can't convince reporters that need to check their sources and their references to make sure they're not printing lies to sell their bullshit. But it's easy with people like Charlie Kirk.
People who believe in the cause. You've got, the guys at Crooked Media. They're just as likely to take a dump on a presidential candidate of their own party than they are to look for the good. So that's number one, is they just don't have the horses. Number two, it again, there's
also the Democrats aren't burning any candidates right now, as Trump is flaming out himself, and especially as the Senate or the House comes back in September, as the closer we get in the next couple of weeks, especially the 5-day ramp up beforehand, it's going to be Epstein, because that vote's still going to happen. That has not gone away. And so they're still going to have to deal with it then. And they might think they've got a reprieve, and it's going to get worse. Because Trump can't, like I said before, Trump can't release this shit. He cannot release the Epstein evidence. The reason is because no matter how many people he loses, no matter how mad MAGA gets, no matter how upset or what they accuse him of, what's in the actual evidence is worse.
so spoiled by having the dominant media on their side. You all rose up in reaction to an absence in the market of voices to be counterposed. Even though the dominant media is nowhere near as powerful as it used to be, even though Biden and Harris have caused a bit of a fissure, it's still every game's a home game for them. And so they just don't have the same incentive.
It's so good.
The
right.
fierce necessity to rise up, because every day they can turn on NBC and open the New York Times website and see their side. And then lastly,
Oh, that's because the truth has a liberal bias. That's why.
it's again back to the absence of ideas. You can build voices and grassroots around tactics and strategy and famous people and creative ideas like your group does. But in the end, people want to know what's going to make their life better. And
Right, and eventually that's why they're going to leave Turning Points USA and why they will never really amount to the kind of force they insist they are, except in electoral politics. They can get people elected, but there will be no policies that are brought to bear. And a great example is just how many betrayals there are in the BBB that Trump put out, and in the not releasing of the Epstein files and his, whether it's Ukraine or Israel, the areas where they were insisting on this, that Turning Points USA tricked these voters into thinking that he was going to be on their side, and then the rug was pulled. So they're great at electoral politics, but they have no policy, largely because they are, ethically, morally, and psychosexually adrift. And I mean that literally, considering the kind of incel brigade that runs the place.
so your events are fun and interesting and filled with energy, but there's lots of conversation about policy ideas at the state,
Right. Or lack thereof.
local, and national level that people can be excited about. They just haven't generated those ideas in such a long time.
No, it's actually, I would argue the Democrats' issue is all policy, no sales. These guys are all sales and no policy. And even when they do have a policy, Trump tells them to go fuck themselves, and it does the exact opposite. And they're like, well, Jim Jones knows best, right? That's the problem they have.
It's such a great point. And Mark, in person, I'd love to explore this topic deeper. Again, this is not just...
Yeah, no, this is not just a distraction to not talk about the Epstein files, which it absolutely is.